Hello and welcome to my 7th video on visualbasic.net. In this video, I'll be talking about the conditional statement. A conditional statement is basically saying you have to meet a condition in order for something to happen. So let's get right into it. Click on your recent project and here we are. Go ahead and click on your Solution Explorer and right-click on your solution, click Add, and then New Project. Once your new project appears, make sure you have Visual Basic, Classic Desktop, or Windows selected, and then Windows Forms Application. Now down here, we're going to name this, let's call it VB Conditional Statement. And capitalize conditional. Click OK. Alright, so here we are. Now we're not going to do much into this at all, but I'm just going to make this tiny little thing here. And then, we're going to put in a text box. Just plain old text box. And this is going to show us our conditional statement. So we're going to double click on this and get the text changed. In here, what we want to do is check when the text has changed to something. So in order to do that, we say if textbox1.text is equal to, let's say YouTube, then something will happen. So this is basically a Boolean right here. If this is true, so if this exists, this word is in there, then this will happen. So essentially you could also write in here true. Whoops. True. And if you write in false, then this won't happen at all. False. Again. False. There we go. Alright, so if you typed in false, then this would not happen. So let's do the text box will say subscribe and like. Well, like and subscribe. Alright, here we go. So, I did this wrong. It's equal to, my mistake. If we run this program, first of all, I just made a mistake since we do not want to do that. Instead, we want it to go to project, then go down until you find set as startup project, and then click on that. Now we can run our project. Alright, here goes. So now if we typed in here, YouTube, did we spell this properly? Let's see. Oh, hold on a second here. Nothing's going to happen here because this is a false statement right now. But if we change this to true, then watch what happens. So, there you go. Like and subscribe. There's no and. Let me put in an and. Alright, so as you can see, this thing is either true or false. When it's false, it's going to ignore this statement right here. But when it's true, it's going to actually do this statement. For example, right now it is true, so it's going to do it. Now if we typed in our previous code, which was if textbox1.text is equal to, and then let's put in YouTube. When I type in YouTube onto that form, here we go. If I type in YouTube, it'll turn into like and subscribe. And you can add other things like that too. Like for example, if we add another if statement, we can put in if textbox1.text is equal to upload, then textbox1.text is equal to let's just put something like no uploads. I don't know. I'm not very creative here. Okay, so if we change this right now to YouTube, it'll turn into like and subscribe. If we write in here upload, it'll say no uploads. Alright, that was fun. But this is kind of redundant, writing another if statement. So you can do something else. We can take this and put it inside this if statement itself. So we can say else if. And there you go. Else, if this is true, then it's going to do this. Now what if none of this is true? So what if there's nothing there at all? Or actually, what if instead of YouTube, it says Google or something? Then you put it into an else statement for everything else, what it's going to do. So we can change it to something else, but however, we don't want it to do that because then we can never type in anything. So we do not want that at all. And also, notice that it always says end if. Because the if and the end if is always connected. Without the end if, you'll get a syntax error. For example, if there's no end if, you'll notice that this is no longer, it's no longer correct. Instead, if you take this out, you'll see that the red line is removed now. So let's play this, and you'll notice that it works the same way. If I put in upload, it'll say no uploads, and if I put in YouTube, it'll say like and subscribe. Now you'll also notice that it always matches the case. So what you can do is, let's first of all change this to just plain Y, and this upload to just plain U, and we're going to do this over here, dot text dot, then to lower. This basically means it turns into lowercase. So dot to lower. Now if we run this program, I can type in any sort of combination. I can capitalize whatever I want. It'll still say whatever it needs to say. Upload. There is another way to do conditional statements, though. This is the if then else statement. Let me move this into another sub. So let's do private sub, and then let's call this if. And I put in an extra F because it's to signify that this is not an if statement. Just to be clear on that. And over here, let's create a second type, which is a select case. Select case and text box 1.text. Now what select case is, basically, it's looking for the text box here, then it's looking for these certain types of things that could appear in there. So, for example, if it says YouTube, then what is it going to do? It's going to say like and subscribe. So let's just copy and paste this over here. Another case would be our upload. So if it says, if it says upload, load, then it'll say no uploads. Let's copy and paste that in. And we also want this to lower so that we don't have any problems with the capitalization. And there you go, the same thing except using cases. So let's create another private sub with this. So let's go to private sub, and then we'll call this case selection. There you go. Now in here we put in case selection, and that's it. As you can see, there are two very different ways, but yet they are doing the same thing at the end. The case is more helpful if you have just one text box and you're going through different cases of that, like text box. So, for example, in this case, we have our text box here, the text of the text inside the text box itself, and then we have the case where it's YouTube, or we have the case where it's upload. But in the case of using a if-then-else statement, you can have separate things. For example, I can say else if, and then something completely different like form or form1 dot text. So the text of the actual form itself. So you can do completely separate things with the if-then-else. However, in the case selection, you need to be specific. It's specific to the certain thing. In this case, the text box. Alright, so that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe, and in our next video I'll be talking about more Windows forms and Visual Basic tricks, and see you next time.